Well, good evening. Been a busy week. Went out to Dover earlier. I'm going to get back to that here in a second. Couple of things that have been going on here. But before that, I do that with respect to Dover. Um, I went to Dover. It's a very small community, expecting certain things. And I was pretty much like a little bit overwhelmed at the reception that I got there, especially from the chief of police at the Dover Police Department. I think I met him as well as the postal clerk at the Dover post office. I think I truly bumped into a couple of true Americans. If you pay attention to what the chief has to say, I think the most poignant thing that he had to say during our conversation was that the Constitution was his guiding light. And as a constitutional conservative myself, I can do nothing but applaud that. And I'll get some critics. At the end, I actually gave him my ID for his records. And I willingly gave it up. It wasn't an argument. It wasn't a discussion point. But I gave up my driver's license to him so he could take the driver's license number and put it on his report. So that if he was questioned by the state about a Freedom of Information Act, what it's called here in Tennessee is an open records request, my identification would be there. And earlier in the conversation, he actually drew a concern to that. And that was part of the reason why I gave it. But primarily, it was how the conversation went. So I'm going to bring up Just My Luck.
What up, though?
What's up, dude?
What up, brother? What you doing? I was listening to what you were saying backstage.
Yeah.
So you went and you did that, what, yesterday, day before?
Yeah, I did it Thursday. Early afternoon. I was gone about 3 hours or so, but
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
it's a really small rural Tennessee. Where I grew up, it would be like like in the middle of Western Mass, or middle to northern New Hampshire, or something to that effect.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Really small community. And I went to the police department and I put the videos up backwards. And the reason I did that was because I actually let myself out of the bag at the very tail end of coming out of the police station where I was going next.
You gave
So
out your personal information or something?
no. I literally said, I'm going to the post office, kind of thing. Uh,
Oh, okay.
at the end of the video, if you watch it, you'll see it.
Yeah, yo, I was trying to watch the both videos, but
Yeah.
for some reason they weren't coming up for me, so I have
Um,
to I have to check it out. But you left a link in the comments
yeah.
before the show even started. I was checking that out before I came here.
But, did it work?
Yeah, I was able to check it out.
Okay. Is that the video um,
Long
for
Island.
Long Island audit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. We're going to talk about that here in a second. So a couple of things before we move on too far, is that a federal court ruled this past week against the state of Texas with regard to their restricting the purchase of firearms for 18 to 20-year-olds. Quite frankly, I think that regardless of how that state is, red or blue, um, this judge got it right this time. And the reason I say that is that the age of majority is 18 in this country, which means he
Right.
can vote. And all this week we've been hearing about student loans and all that kind of stuff. And an 18-year-old can sign pretty much a 20 or 30-year contract for hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college.
Right.
So if they can do that, they can sign a military contract. I did the same thing. I actually signed mine before my 18th birthday, but they can sign a contract in the military, which is essentially a blank check to the United States of America, up to and including the cost of my life.
Right.
So I think Texas got this particular Texas judge got it right this week. That's a good thing.
Okay.
And then, and we're going to come back to this too. This was the purpose of doing the live chat. An internal audit at Nashville, what they call Metro Nashville Police Department, revealed that there were at least a couple of people involved in editing, doctoring, bastardizing, whatever you want to call it, body borne cameras. I watched enough videos. We talked about, how I got here last week. The number of police officers that are wearing body borne cameras, and they always brag about it. Well, I'm recording you too, or I'm recording as well, or I'm recording you, so you don't have to. When they have that argument about the camera, and this is the problem that we have with the body borne cameras, is that a police officer, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here, but it is a problem and it needs to be addressed. In all likelihood, technologically.
Get the fuck out of here, Cat.
And that is that
my bad.
An officer can learn to manipulate the camera while he's wearing it. He can shut it off or turn it on at any point. Most of them have a 30-second delay before you get any audio whatsoever. It's mostly video.
Oh, do they?
If they put their finger over the camera or they put their finger in their thumb over
I've seen them do that.
Right. And then, now we have the
like
in-between.
In real life too.
What's that?
And I'm saying I've seen him put the thumb over the lens in real life.
Right. So I've seen a few fingerprints myself. The big thing to remember is that the camera doesn't lie. You have your version of what happened. I have mine. The camera doesn't lie. This is what happened.
The camera has it.
So, with respect to that,
sure.
the middle of the road, the officer puts on his camera and he doesn't manipulate it. He downloads it. And where I think the issue here is that there was some sort of investigation and somebody went in there and edited out certain stuff that may have been derogatory, maybe foul language, whatever the case may be. But regardless, it should have never been deleted. That's a costing one public record, and it's illegal. And then, the follow on to that is that as soon as the police department opens up an investigation and there's a body borne camera involved, what I've overwhelmingly noticed is that the administration will lock down that body borne camera, even on a freedom of information, a FOIL request, open records request, whatever the state wants to call it. I have a right, because that is public record, right? That police officer wearing that and recording that interaction with me is public record. And what they do is they lock it down as soon as there's an investigation. Then for months, I've even seen a couple of trials where they weren't able to get the records because the police department obstructed the actual request during discovery to release the documents, the data, not the documents, but the data. So I don't want to beat a dead horse here. We'll come back to Nashville because that's what we dedicated the night for. But the other minor thing that I wanted to, and some of the viewers may have already picked up on this, is that I'm a stickler for the poster date, especially in the post office on poster 7. And I guess that's a leftover of the serving in the military. You know, has this been superseded by anything? And I don't see a whole lot of other
Right.
auditors doing that. They see poster 7 and they move on. The post office in Clarksville was almost 30 years old, and the one in Dover was almost 20 years old. And the thing is that is law. It's how I'm supposed to conduct myself on postal property, and that's my guidance. And if this is my first time reading it, I'm using 20-year-old guidance. Anything could have changed in there. Something that was allowed 20 years ago may not be in there anymore. The language, what you can do, with discrepancies may have changed and stuff like that. So that's kind of where and why I
Right.
go after that. And it's just kind of ironic that both of them were out of date and neither one of them is posted for a firearm. Um, I don't understand
Right. Yeah, that
how
is a little strange.
they that that I mean, as a handgun carrier, and Tennessee last July went to non-permitted. If you're permitted to carry, you can. You don't have to go through the permitting process. They still recommend it, but you don't have to. Um, so I got my license far before that, but that was part of the course, right? They talk about, definitely restricted areas and buildings and stuff like that. The post office came up in conversation, as I remember it. Excuse me. And they, uh, the post office not being posted to somebody that maybe somebody just bought a gun. In the last 2 or 3 years, they don't feel safe. The country's getting a little bit more violent. That kind of stuff. They buy a weapon and they walk into the post office to mail a couple of letters and get a book of stamps. And they're not put on notice before they walk through the door. And quite frankly, shame on the post office. And the thing is that that's a serious offense, especially in a federal building. In all likelihood, in Clarksville or Dover, it would have been the local police. But now you're talking about that. Would we lose you?
Yeah, my bad, yo.
Yeah,
I
that's
had
all
a
right.
little bit of a bad connection. What were you saying?
So,
You were saying as a handgun carrier.
yeah, as a handgun carrier, I've been a handgun carrier for a number of years. But when I moved to Tennessee, one of the first things I did was get my permit. And in that course, they identified
How many
a
years is the number of years
uh, for what?
that you've been a licensed handgun operator?
well, well, I was unlicensed for the military for 22 years, but
Right.
as far as authority goes on the civilian side, it's probably been close to 15.
Right. Okay.
And there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I think it was back, 4 or 5 years ago, Starbucks came out and said that they would prefer that people that carry their firearm do not enter their stores while carrying. Um, that's their right. They don't want me in there. That's fine. But I exercise.
Yeah, but you can
Um,
easily take your gun off your holster and
yeah,
go
but
grab your coffee.
I don't over a cup of coffee. So I choose to shop elsewhere.
Yeah, wait in line at a Dunkin' Donuts, no big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, no,
so
I feel you, man. That's some good points right there.
yeah. So I was trying to share um, some of the stuff. I wanted to bring people up to speed on the Ringgold Station post office. I've got uh, a satellite shot of the post office because there was some confusion when I looked at the sign why it was Ringgold Station, but the address was Fort Campbell Boulevard. But I can't seem to share that. That link is extremely long.
You can share your screen on here, and oh, I thought it was something else. My bad. But you can share your screen here if you wanted to show the audience something that you could read to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just easier for people to look up the address,
Yeah,
do it yourself.
drop the link in the chat if you
Yeah,
can.
it's or a comment. I can drop the link in there. You know what I mean? But the
Yeah.
address is 2011 Fort Campbell Boulevard, Clarksville, Tennessee, 37042. Again, 2011 Fort Campbell Boulevard, Clarksville, Tennessee, 37042.
Okay.
So with that in mind, if you look at the post office and Ringgold and Fort Campbell Boulevard, Route 41 alternate, dissect right there. The building sits a little bit back. There's a realty company and another business in front of it, so it kind of sits in the back, if you will, which leads to the driveway letting out onto Ringgold. But that driveway, when I went and looked at GIS, that driveway that leads out in between that second and third building is actually the postal property.
What's GIS?
Uh, Government Information Survey. If
Okay.
you can download an app on your phone, and this is important to knowing when you're on a right of way and when you're not, especially when you're doing audits. But if you put in GIS into the app search, they'll probably come up with
Right.
more than a handful. But what that does is it tells you, it delineates the actual property lines,
Okay.
and it allows you to see where like you may not have a sidewalk, right, at all. You may not
Right.
have a sidewalk, but that's still one, because people that are walking still need to be able to walk down the road, if you will.
Yeah, 100%.
But not only that, but you have what they call public easements,
Right.
and those public easements are for water, sewer, gas, um, electrical lines, phone lines, all that kind of stuff. And typically, one side or the other, or both, on wider roads, the property line will be pushed back towards the property owner.
Okay.
That area in between is considered public easement,
Right.
which means that I don't need your permission to walk there. I don't need your permission to stand there. It's a public easement. It's just the way it is.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
so that driveway, it's a rather long driveway. It was the driveway that led out from where the two 18 wheelers were parked, right where I started.
Right.
The 18 wheelers were parked there, and they were kind of like a physical obstacle to getting around that fence.
And see, I think I checked out the second video first because there's a longer video, and I haven't gotten a chance to check that one out yet. But
Yeah.
I did see a little bit of the first one that you uploaded.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to do, I don't know what this dude is, this guy in the chat, but get rid of him for me, would you?
Yeah, 1 second.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'm not going to have that on my channel.
Ooh, that is not good.
Yeah, get rid of him. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
anybody that wants to come in here and act like that, you're kicked out of here for good. You're blocked. You're banned. You ain't coming back. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, to dovetail the update on the property, because I was a little confused, because the the post office sign was on Ringgold, but it was pointing me towards Fort Campbell Boulevard, and I was like, I don't get it, and I said that, when I was
Right.
looking at the sign in the video. So with that, uh, I want to dovetail something, and all of the credit for this goes to Long Island Audits. He is probably one of the top 10, 15 um, auditors in the nation right now.
Yeah, I was just watching the video where he was on there, and it was just a quick one, and he was talking about the message that they're telling the post office workers.
Yeah,
If
I'm
you
gonna
see
read
these
that.
people,
I'm gonna read that
you're about
here.
to read it. Okay.
Um, he got an internal memo, which he described from the anonymous provider of that document to him that works in the Postal Service. Gave him that document that there was also, I guess it would be like uh, a, a company meeting, if you will, or a
Right.
company training that the employees were supposed to attend. They call it mandatory.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was him talking. Actually, I triggered his video. But anyway,
Oh, okay.
I would highly encourage you, if you're interested in what I do, and I'm just a rookie here, to go check out Long Island Audits. Again, he's one of the top performers in the country right now, and he's actually won a couple of court cases just recently.
Right.
Um, tons of material and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, to the letter that the United States Postal Inspection Service put out to postal employees, and this directly relates to my experience at Ringgold Station. And it may even be why I haven't heard back from the Postal Service, Postal Inspection Service. And I get that they're busy and all that kind of stuff, and maybe it's going to take some time for them to get to me. But
Right.
this letter explains a lot, and I'm going to read it.
Okay.
So on the title bar, it says mandatory stand up talk, filming on postal property, dated August 24th, 2022.
Okay.
I did it again. Yeah. Okay.
What did you do again?
Yeah, I tried to turn them on again. I'm not going to be able to see all of it, I don't think. But anyway, recently we have seen instances of people taking video outside of Postal Service facilities. Some you have even filmed inside our lobbies. Now, as I read through this, uh, keep in mind that it's somewhat derogatory towards the auditing community, but the point here is maintained. So let me see if I can mute this. Yeah, because I'm going to have to scroll down here. Okay. So anyway, recently we got to that, but these videos are posted to social media and attempt to capture our employees in argumentative situations, which cast the Postal Service in a negative light. More than 400 of these videos were posted last year. More than 550 have been posted so far this year. So they're feeling our presence for sure. If you encounter someone filming on postal property, follow these simple steps, the 3 R's, to protect yourself, our customers, and USPS. And I'm going to kind of mimic what Long Island Audits had to say about this, in that they're trying to protect their brand here. The first step is to refrain. In other words, don't take the bait. I can't control your behavior in public, nor can you control my behavior in public. So I'm not throwing bait out to anybody. When I'm doing an audit, I am trying to get an organic response to my presence while they're conducting their duties with a camera in my hand. That's as simple as it gets. I'm not baiting you. I didn't go out fishing yesterday afternoon. I went out auditing. There's a big difference. So let me get a little bit further down. The goal of these individuals is to elicit confrontational responses from our employees. No one, retail associates, supervisors, managers, and postmasters, should approach these individuals. Don't insist that they stop filming or state that they're violating the law. The only reason they're saying that and can say that is because we're not. We are not violating the law. Don't ask them their names or who they represent. Don't demand they leave the premises. Don't debate with them or answer their questions. I find that a little rude. I'm still a patron. Don't use personal or work smartphones to record their interactions. The second step is to report. If you see someone taking video in or around the facility, tell your supervisor or manager. If there's a potential safety or security risk, or the person is interfering with operations, including recording names and addresses of I'm having a tough time with this. I don't know why. Where was I? Including recording names and addresses of from customer mail pieces. Managers should immediately call the Postal Inspection Service hotline at 877-876-2455. Or, no, it says only, sorry, only call 911 if immediate safety or security concerns arise. I don't believe in July, when I went to the Clarksville post office, I was an immediate safety or security concern. I wasn't the one yelling at me. That actually boiled down to the station manager yelling at me. And that's how we got five officers and 4 cruisers to show up. You still there? No, sorry about that. I was on a different screen, so I didn't see when you went.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No, it's all good, man. I was trying to delete that asshole in the comments, man.
Yeah, that's all right.
So my
he's gone.
don't come here disrespecting like that.
So that's the update on the Ringgold station. I know we were aiming for like 45, 50 minutes. How long have we been on here?
29 minutes.
Yeah, about 25 minutes or so. So I want to drag it on too much longer, and I kind of got into this. I guess I talked about it a little bit more than I thought I did, and that is the body bourne cameras.
Oh no, it's all right.
With respect to the body bourne cameras, and this is, it just so happened that you and I were talking about this, like 3 or 4 days ago, a week ago, about body bourne cameras, and then all of a sudden Nashville has an issue, which is right down the road.
Right.
And again, these cops that are wearing these body borne cameras, they're all about informing you that I'm filming you too. You don't have to film because I'm filming everything. And what
Yeah,
really boils
that's
down,
kind of BS.
right? Especially if they can manipulate it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
get
exactly.
you mean you have to be able to extract one scene, one incident from another, and all that kind of stuff. But that should be a small handful of people in the department that
Right.
have the authority to do that, so that we can keep a better eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulating in any fashion, manipulating that data, um, is anything but deplorable, or maybe it's anything but deplorable.
Right.
And it's also illegal. That's public record.
Oh, 100%.
Um, so even like like in that memo, where the Postal Service Inspection Service was saying, don't use your personal phone or your work phone, because when you do that, you're creating a public record.
Right.
So, like, I mean, some of these auditors, they go into town hall and they have a camera in their hand. And then,
Right.
Sally Jones, the receptionist, picks up her phone and starts to what everybody's referring to now as cam back, right? You're getting cameraed back.
Right.
And the thing that they don't understand is, especially if it's their personal phone, is that I can now record request that because you took a video of me while I was in a public building performing, you know, um, whatever it was I was doing in the building, and that
Right.
also opens up everything else on the phone. So if you got anything to hide, I certainly wouldn't on your
Well,
personal phone.
I got, I
What's
got
that?
people fighting out in the street over here, bro. I got people fighting out in the street over here.
Oh,
People
really?
yelling and screaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they come a little closer, I'll show y'all the drama. Since after all, I can record anybody that I want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you can. There is no expectation of privacy while in public. That's really what it's about. The biggest thing about
Right. And
the body
they're
cameras,
walking in the middle
you're breaking
of
up.
the road.
You're breaking up bad, dude. So the biggest thing about the body worn cameras is, simply put, the manipulation of the data once it's recorded. Inadvertently you put your hand over it, during an incident or something like that. I don't have a problem with that. But some of the stuff I've seen, it is an active. Uh, you are actively trying to obstruct what the body worn camera was intended to do. Your thumb is mashed right up to the lens, and you're covering, so I can barely make out the audio, that kind of stuff, on the body worn camera. It's obvious. You're not fooling anybody, fellas, ladies too. You're not fooling anybody. We weren't born yesterday, uh, so keep that in mind. And then, when it gets back to the station house, I've seen, another half a dozen videos or so where, um, inside the station house, somewhere in between downloading the data and transferring it to
My
wherever it's
bad.
stored, the data, is being manipulated. Something's taken out, or you know, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't care.
Right.
Again, it's illegal. And then when,
Oh,
like,
100%.
if I have an altercation with a police officer and I want to file a complaint, so after the altercation, I go down to the police department and I file a complaint against this officer. The very first thing that the administration does is it locks down the data from the body borne camera. And when you put in the records request for that data, and in some cases, I've even seen where it's not even been given up. The police department just absolutely refuses to give it up, even during discovery when we're trying to settle out this court case. So, and this goes back to why I'm carrying a camera.
Right.
Why am I carrying a camera? Well, if you're not safeguarding what you're recording with your body borne camera on, how do I know that you're going to treat me right? And again, the camera doesn't lie. It is the most impartial witness to the interaction. I can have my version, you can have your version, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. But when you have the camera, the truth is the recording, the raw video, not anything that's been
Yeah. How
edited
are
or
you? You're supposed to know.
right. So, um, I'm sure that there are some safeguards in place there, but I
Right.
mean, we're talking about a major metropolitan city within the United States, Nashville, Tennessee, and the internal investigation. And my hat's off to the internal investigators here, because when you have an internal investigation, you have the the police investigating the police. I don't necessarily agree with that the way that is, but that is the way it is. IA internal investigation kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, I don't think anybody should investigate themselves, but that's just my personal opinion here, at least at this point, unless I can get a politician's ear. So that's about what I wanted to
Well,
talk
who do you think should police the police then?
about. You
I
could
mean, we
get,
could just have a regular conversation now.
yeah, you could get, I certainly feel that, public representatives should be in there. You could get, somebody that,
Like a mayor,
huh?
like a mayor or something like that.
Well, not certainly not of of Nashville. You know what I'm saying? But if you
Right.
had somebody that had no skin in the game, if you will, maybe I don't know, just throwing something out there. The Knoxville mayor, he's got no skin in the game, and what happens in Nashville?
You're talking about Glenn Jacobs.
Who?
Glenn Jacobs.
Who's that?
He's the mayor of Knoxville County.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
But
a
you could have business, like business leaders in that, in that oversight body and stuff like that. But now you're talking about volunteers too.
he's Kane the Undertaker's brother. He's Kane the Undertaker's brother from WWE,
Oh,
WWF. Yeah, that's how
yeah,
I
we
know.
know how much you're a fan. So,
Yep, that's
uh,
right.
that's I mean, I don't think it should be exclusively the police policing themselves. Um, Not only, even if everything is appropriate, it just doesn't smell right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. And you know what? I was just thinking I seen something that in 2035 by 2035 California is going to ban all gasoline cars and they want to go to all electric.
Yeah.
Um, damn, there's a point that I had like right before that I was kind of like comparing that to. But damn, dude, I forget what I was going to say. It's all good, man. We're just hanging out, shooting the shoot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I don't know how they'll achieve that. I mean, quite frankly, they should be worrying about their water supply at the moment.
Well, to be honest with you, man, I'm hearing that they're going to get this big, huge megastorm,
Yeah,
um,
but that's not gonna
like
fill
a
Lake
rain,
Erie back up.
like a rainstorm. Nah, man, they're saying that it's gonna rain for like 30, 40 days. You know, like one of the biggest storms that they've ever seen in history.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I was reading a New York Times article. They
So
they
that was your
posted an article.
problem.
Say what?
I said that was your first problem.
Right.
Reading the New York Times, but
But I mean, other people are saying it too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of scientific evidence to back it up. That something is on its way to California just because of the way that the waters are and stuff like that. But anyways,
yeah, we got somebody in here. You feel free to comment. You want us to talk about something that's relevant or something like that. You want to throw that, or just even introduce yourself. That would
okay,
be appreciated.
yeah, like, subscribe. If you haven't already.
Yeah,
My,
I've been a little bit neglect on doing that. I mean, trying to keep my thoughts straight and what I want to get accomplished, and um, running scenarios
right,
through my head and stuff like that. I kind of lose track of promoting myself before and after I get done. But
right.
I also don't want to
No,
be
no big deal.
yeah, there are some auditors out there that it's a little bit much in their video. Like,
Right,
subscribe, notify, email, and then you get into the monitorized sites and all that kind of
right.
stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
I mean, I'm paying the same fuel prices you guys are. You know what I mean? So, Dover wasn't that far, but it was close enough. And, I really did think that I was going to walk into a bit of a hornet's nest, especially going to the police department. But you have to listen to that chief.
And that was a
Uh,
risky move too that you made. You know what I'm saying? Because you only got one other post office to go to. What happens if you get trespassed from both?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
Well, I mean, I have more post offices than that, but the two in Clarksville are the closest, and then Dover is probably the
and
next
that's the one
closest.
that you went to, right?
Yeah, the one in Dover. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now,
Okay,
ironically, the Ringgold and the Madison are about the same distance apart from my house,
okay.
so it really doesn't matter which one I go to. But
It's not that
yeah,
far away.
yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. That's kind of funny that you picked up on that. I
Yeah,
forget the one more post office. But
yeah. Because when you
that post office went well.
right,
Now, mind you, that was the same day. No, that was the day after the memo came out. So,
oh,
dude,
okay,
I don't know if, like, on Wednesday or early on Thursday morning, she had to sit through this video talking about somebody walking through her front door and confronting her with a camera.
right.
You know what I mean? And they're telling her, "Don't pay no mind to it. You just go back to your work and don't give them a hard time. Don't tell them they're breaking the law. Jesus, you're making us look ugly."
Yeah, right.
And I did. I mean, at the end, I tried to keep the camera off of her. There was one lady in the back. She peeked out a couple of times. I think she was afraid of the camera too, but whatever.
Yeah,
But
I think I've
anyway,
seen somebody.
at the tail end of that, before I actually started to motivate myself out the door, um, I said to her, I said, how did I put that? I don't remember. But I told her that I was going to take her picture, and I moved the camera over to it, and I called her beautiful, and I said, say hi, and that kind of stuff. And then I swung it back away from her.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I could have made her a thumbnail, but, all that kind of
you
stuff.
you you told
I,
her she was beautiful.
I did. I did. I told her she was beautiful.
She could have taken offense to that. That's another daring move on your part.
Yeah,
You
well,
know.
I'm not gonna tiptoe around life and walking around on those eggshells.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
Pronouns and all that kind of stuff. Jesus, I'm not even gonna go there.
Right.
I'm just not gonna go there. I'm just not. It's silliness as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%. man.
Regardless, where you stand on, your political, religious, moral groundings or whatever. I mean, I just here's another one. Yeah, hold on a second.
Another
We're
one.
blocking
What? I got my
another
I got my
one.
screen off. So I,
Yeah, had a negative comment. So we got the trolls out, or bottom feeders, whatever you want to call them.
I guess
I
so.
don't know. I guess we can kind of end here. Somebody else is watching. If they've got a question, throw it up there. Otherwise, I guess we'll wind it down and terminate.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I'm down for whatever. We can get in a regular call, but I also kind of wanted to, just talk on here and just like bullshit a little bit. You know what I mean? Because when we're talking about what we're talking about, it gets a little bit serious. You know what I mean? And I just want everybody that's watching and listening to what we're saying, to know that we're just normal dudes like you, or normal people like you. You know what I
Right.
mean? And we just, we have a lot of conversations like this. Tasman is a lot more knowledgeable in these type of subjects. You know what I'm saying? And I get this stuff all the time. So, you know, he's gonna say some smart, intelligent shit to me, anyways. If we were to get off here, so I think if we hung around for a little while longer, another 10 minutes or so, maybe you guys might catch another diamond. I don't know if you agree with me here, Tasman, but we're only shy of an hour. An hour was the goal tonight, so I feel 47 minutes long. Maybe we could last another 10 minutes. You know,
All right.
because I just wanted to say, like those videos that you uploaded before. I haven't gotten a chance to really watch them yet. I skimmed through the first. I think it was the first one, and then whichever one was the one where there was the police cars, and then there was like a no trespassing um, line that you couldn't go past. I think you said it might have been like the water department or something like that.
What's that now? What about the water department?
No, I'm just describing what I saw in the video that I watched of
Oh,
yours.
water department. Which one
Like
was
there was
that?
there was like a no trespass. It was in the most recent
Oh
one that you
yeah, the
did.
back behind the
Yeah, it was like a little
yeah,
dirt road.
they're building again because they're a small community. They have a
They're building over there.
where the police department and the they had the little courthouse and also the board meeting. That's where I went yesterday. The Dover
Oh, okay.
police department, but City Hall is in there. I think the Department of Health is in there. The fire department's in the same building. Um,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't.
seemed like a really small police department, and to have the fire department in the same building.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
Well,
small that's small town we're talking right there.
if you listen to the whole, it really came to an interview. Really, it was an engaging conversation between the two of us. But I got an
Right.
opportunity to, I wouldn't call it a true interview, but to kind of interview the chief of police over there. And he talks about the two cars in the back lot that I went over and said they were dirty, and one of them needed new sneakers and all that kind of stuff. And he talks
Right.
about that when, I'm in his office and, I'm sitting across his desk from him, and he was talking about that. And, quite frankly, what he was hoping to do, what it sounded like, what he wanted to do was at least put a little money into those two vehicles so you could get them back out on the road. Um, Probably because of budgetary
Were
constraints.
those the only two vehicles that were there?
Yeah, I don't know where I mean
Right.
he might be just using his personal vehicle. I don't know. I didn't see, and he said
Right.
he's been there 2.5 years, and um, I I think because I've been driving by that place for, at least 6 years,
Years
back
now.
and forth, because that used
Right.
to be my territory all the way out to the Mississippi River. So whenever I would leave the
Right. For
house
work.
heading west, I would drive right by there. The chief of
Right.
police used to park in the parking lot on the far left-hand side of the building, and I used to see his vehicle there all the time. But I didn't
Was
see
it
it
the
there. So,
sheriff's office? Was
no,
it the
police
sheriff's
department.
office that you went to? Because, like
Police.
I said, I only saw two cruisers or whatever, so I kind of just assumed that it was a small sheriff's department.
No, it's the police
You
department.
know?
Yeah, and they had those two vehicles there, and one of them had already been the decals had been taken off. Um,
Right.
and I would assume that it was about to be decommissioned. And I don't
Right.
even know how old the vehicle is, but let's say that was, somewhere in the middle of the pandemic. They push it to the back lot and hoping that they can trade it in, after everything's all over. But now, that same vehicle is $30,000 more if you can get one.
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah.
that
Everything's more
that
expensive
that's
now.
kind of when he was talking about those vehicles, that kind of, I mean, because I know where he's coming from, because I was on a fire department worried about budget stuff, and
Right.
I could hear in the way he was describing, well, I have plans to put tires on it. There's, pushing anywhere between $600 and $1,000 just for tires. You're going to put that into
Right.
it. It had a couple of dings in the front, stuff like that. Maybe it has a minor, mechanical issue or something like that. And he's just trying to get more
You're
miles
gonna.
out of that vehicle.
Yeah. No matter what, you're gonna get dings. You know what I'm saying? Uh. I mean, I dinged up your truck one time, if I remember correctly.
Did you?
I mean, you say I did, but there's not really any evidence.
Is what?
I
It's
said there's not really any evidence.
not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not anymore, but you know what, man? Um, like I said, I was forced to do it. You know, I was forced to move the truck. I had no choice. You know, I was an unlicensed driver. You should have known better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If that works for
I
you.
was there. It was there. I'm just telling a funny story to the audience, man. Because me and you are boys. You know, what I mean, we're really good friends. And one time up north in New Hampshire, it was a crazy old blizzard, and I was we were trying to move the truck so we could shovel the driveway. And I was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, Taz, man, I could do it. You know, no problem." I go and I move the truck, and I'm pretty sure it was like real slippery, but I accidentally hit I hit the mailbox. It was like bright yellow, and that paint is still on your side view mirror to this day, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
You still got that truck?
Yep. Sitting in the front yard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to do with it yet, but
I'm sure you'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
right.
It's it's an old truck. I mean, I'm sure that there's people out there that would want it. You said that there was one particular part that you could get quite a bit of dough for. So
It does have a Duramax in it and an Allison. So
right. So hit up Tasman. You know what I'm saying? If you want that truck,
yeah.
you know,
Right. Yeah.
like and subscribe. Um, leave comments on the video after you guys watch the video.
Yeah.
Bring up
Even
some
sharing it.
yeah.
I'm still trying to feel my way to get to a comfort area with doing these. I don't. I mean, other than, and I wouldn't call it adversarial at the Ringgold station. Um, but it was a little tense there in a couple of spots,
Right.
not knowing what was going to happen. But I really haven't ran into any real confrontation yet.
Right.
So I'm constantly prepared for it, which I was thankful that after the fact, in that 40-minute ride home after Dover yesterday, I was like, that went way better than I anticipated. Again, it's a small town in rural Tennessee, and I'm thinking, this is going to be fucking. I did it again this week. I'm going to run into Hillbilly Bob. You know what I'm saying? Apologize for the cuss word. Um, Now, I am a sailor, so I'm very well versed in cuss words, but needless to say, it doesn't need to be on here. Um, but uh, even made note to myself how well that went. I really enjoyed the probably 45 or 50 minutes that I spent with that chief, and I was
You were with
hopeful.
them for that long?
Yeah, it's not quite, because I did the outside of the building, and I
Yeah.
wandered around the lobby and stuff like that. So I probably got a good, and I filled out my paperwork. He's already
20
responded to
minutes,
me,
half hour.
believe it or not. He's already responded to me with my answers.
Oh, that's cool. What did you ask him?
I asked him about the department's filing of their ethics standards to the Tennessee Ethics Commission, and also their de-escalation training.
Okay. Now,
Uh,
what made you want to ask them those particular questions?
uh,
Like,
the
how did you know to
oh,
ask those
oh no, it
questions?
was the trespass, because he told me during our conversation that his department, and I told him that was good enough for me. I mean, he's the chief of police. He tells me that his guys are done, and of course, there's a record of him telling me that now, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
he's the chief of the department. I have no reason to question that man's word. So the de-escalation, he said, yeah, all our guys are done. It was uh, the trespass list, the Tennessee trespass list. The way that works is the Secretary of State is supposed to compile and disseminate a list of property owners annually that designate their property as no trespass, and they're supposed to disseminate
All
it
right.
to all law enforcement agencies. And what he
And you're
did was,
talking about the trespass from the post office.
no, 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 no. This is for anybody. Anybody in the state of Tennessee can notify the Secretary of State that they want their property on this list that designates it as no trespassing. So,
Okay.
and we had a conversation about this, and I think he was far more liberal about the way the statute was written than I am, as far as its interpretation. And that's how law works. You know what I mean? It's never
Yeah.
going to fit. That shoe is never going to fit every foot. So he looks at it a little bit different than I do. But essentially, the way I look at the way that statute, when I read it, is
How
that
do you guys look at it differently?
he thinks that um, he relies more on the trespass law, and he even said it, the Constitution, with respect to private property. Uh, and you know, there are some cops out there that you're a private property owner, and they come on your property, and then they won't leave when you tell them to, and they have no warrant. Well, that's against the law. It's like me showing up at your house and you tell me to go and I don't. Just because you're a cop doesn't give you special privileges. If I tell
Right.
you to
Okay.
get off my property and you don't have a warrant, then you need to go away.
Right.
So, my interpretation of the way the statute is written is that, by one, the property owner notifying the Secretary of State that their property is no trespass, that's your warning, right? They they are notifying the highest authority within the state that your property is no trespass. There's nothing in that, and we talked about this too, but there is nothing in that statute that requires me to post my land if I notify or don't notify the Secretary of State.
Right.
There's nothing in this statute that addresses that. And we got into a little bit of a conversation about that.
I mean, can you? Let me ask you a question. Can you go into, let's say, let's can you go into a hardware store, right, and get a no trespassing sign, and just nail it up on a tree, and it means no trespassing?
Uh-huh.
It's as easy as that.
It's as easy as that.
Okay, damn.
Most of the trespass laws, it states in there that it has to be posted in order to be effectual, right? Because if you
Okay,
don't, it's just like it goes back to the notifying me that there's a firearm is not allowed in the post office. You have
right,
to notify me. I mean, you think about it, right? You walk down the street or drive down the street 3 miles from your house. How many signs do you see?
a lot.
Right. That is how we notify ourselves, like turn left here, turn
Yeah,
right
that's how we
here,
know
straight
things.
here, slow down, speed up, stop, yield, all of that kind of stuff.
Right,
Well, a trespass sign is just the same way. That's how
right.
you put somebody on notice, just like firearms are prohibited from this facility.
See, I
You know,
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure because I got a no trespass sign and a danger, beware of dog. My dog
right,
passed away, but I ain't taking the signs down. But people still walk by every day with their dogs off the leash, yo. It drives me crazy.
right.
They see the sign, you know what I mean? And they just got their little tiny pups off their leash, man. It drives me crazy. I don't
Yeah.
mean to get off topic or whatever.
No,
They're
no,
just
no.
walking in the road, but you know,
Well, I mean, realistically, they don't have to. Now, their loose dog is an issue because maybe there's a leash law, or your dog is aggressive and their dog comes onto your property and something bad happens. You
well,
know what I
that's what
mean?
I'm saying, man. The dog
Right.
comes onto the
Yeah.
or taking a shit on my lawn. I don't care if what it pisses on the tree, big deal, you know.
Yeah.
But I just wish that people would kind of respect that a little bit more. But I mean, what am I to say? I mean, I've trespassed places before, and abandoned hospitals and crazy old buildings like that. You know,
Yeah.
ghost hunting.
If it's posted,
Yeah,
that's lawful.
yeah, we got chased out a couple times. Teenage years.
Yeah.
Pretty
All
crazy
right, man.
stuff.
I'll catch
Yeah, we
up with
could
you
get out
on the
of here.
backside here, but yeah, I didn't want to go quite this long, but it
Yeah,
was a
no,
good
no doubt, no doubt.
conversation, and there was actually a fair amount to talk about
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
with regard to stuff that is you know working in the past. I don't know if I'm ever going to hear from the Postal Service, especially with that memo out now. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
maybe,
let them
maybe not.
off. You know what I mean? I'll probably give them through most of next week before I throw them another message and say, "Hey, I haven't heard from you guys.
Contact them again.
What's up?"
Right.
You
Right.
know, let's get some resolution to this. So
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
all
Anyway,
right,
yeah, I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Like and subscribe, share it. See you guys next time.
all right. Have a good night.